You're listening to The Coach Show with Coach Banks, Coach Swanson, Coach Kozlerich, and Coach Doherty on the Coaching Culture and Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. Sit back and enjoy the show. The views and opinions discussed in this podcast are not necessarily the opinion of the host or the Coach Show on the Coaching Culture in Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. Let's get it done.
All right, everybody. Hey, it's another rendition of the Coach Show. We are here tonight, and you're in for a real treat. Other than you kind of hurt my feelings. You know, he was talking about that come from behind victory. It was a Centerville Big Red and Fort Madison game. You know, I was kind of rubbing into Coach Doherty, and then Jennings kind of smacked me in the face, kind of like my golf game today. But anyway, it is what it is. But you know what? We have Fort Madison alum and offensive coordinator at Wisconsin Whitewater, Peter Jennings. Pete, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, about your role, and leave the good stuff to me, because I had a few people that know you that have given me insight on the fun questions here, icebreakers at the beginning.
All right, very good. Yeah, so I got to Wisconsin Whitewater this 2 full years ago. This is the start of my third spring. Unfortunately, obviously, it's been slightly abbreviated. We've had a great run here. Obviously, there's been there's 6 national titles in the last 13 years, something of that nature. We haven't won a title in the last 2 since I've been here, but we did play in the national title this year, and we got all the way to the national semifinals 2 years ago in my first year. So awesome experience. Love playing that deep into December. Way different, totally different. Want to do it again. Enjoy it a lot. And before that, I was at Rhodes College as the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach. And before that, I was at Carroll University in Waukesha, Wisconsin for, I think 5 years as the offensive coordinator. And then out of college, I started out at Iowa Wesleyan down in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, and spent a couple years there. And so that's sort of where I cut my teeth coaching college ball. And now got the awesome opportunity to run the offense at a premier Division III institution, a school that's going to compete for a national title, knock on wood, every year. And I coach the quarterbacks, and I've got a great group, and it's just been a ton of fun.
I'm going to guess you don't run the triple option wishbone up there. I'm just going to guess. Okay, I'm just don't.
I couldn't even find a way to get my lanky ass under center to run triple or wishbone. So I couldn't teach anybody. I'd have to get so low, get the butt down. No, we're not running triple. I think Coach O'Grady, who is the longtime head coach at River Falls, absolutely owned the triple, and he is one of our offensive assistants. And I'm sure if he had his way, we'd be running, belly, 62 times a game. And but no, we're not quite doing that right now.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for your icebreaker questions, partner?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So here's your first one, and we'll start easy. Does your current car have a name, and what is it?
So I actually just got a new truck, and it does not have a name. The previous truck I had was a big green truck, and it was named Forrest Whitaker because it was forest green. So yes, my previous truck, this new one, it's maroon. We haven't found anything catchy yet, but yes, the previous one did.
Coach Swanson, what's the name of the Cadillac?
Oh, it doesn't have a name.
Okay.
It doesn't have a name. Tara Rating calls me Grandma or Grandma of the car. Either one works, but I haven't given it a name. I'm going to pass on that.
Okay. Does anyone want to give their names? I mean, it's totally up to you.
My Jeep is Sugar.
Sugar. I kind of like that. All right, so we'll go to question number 2, and you're lucky, Coach. You get 6 tonight. Okay, here we go. Here's question 2. What is your favorite item you bought this year?
Oh, jeez. So I swore, like I'm not a big gun guy. I fired guns before. I've gone hunting, but it's not a thing I do. But this whole pandemic, I actually did break down and I bought a shotgun because I didn't know what was going to go on. And I was like, I got a family. I know, aim and shoot. I hope, right? I mean, maybe that shouldn't go online. I don't know. But
it's all good, right?
I'm pretty. But yeah, this pandemic, I never used to lock my car doors because I figured I don't have anything of value, and if you take that truck, I'm going to get a cheap one anyway. So, and now I'm locking my truck doors, and I have a shotgun. So, this pandemic has done a number on me.
Coach Bryant, you have to answer this one.
Okay, it would probably be my sectional couch. Big fan of that.
Yeah. I bought a roofing nailer, guys. It's like Tim the Toolman Taylor, but my wife won't let me run it. That's the bad thing, right?
Can't blame her.
Stop it. All right, so here's the next question. This one's kind of cool. What would be the most surprising scientific discovery imaginable?
Oh, I think time travel would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Be off the chart. A vaccine for this virus would be pretty solid too.
Yeah.
But I guess if we had time travel, we could go back to the dang wet market and stop people from buying the bat or whatever it was. So, but yeah, I'd go with time travel.
Now, since all three of us are history dudes, I'm going to leave this to the science dude up in the upper right hand corner there, and let Coach Doherty. What's your answer?
I mean, I would have to agree with time travel. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Me, personally, I just want to find out, the UFOs, is it really aliens or is it the Chinese that are in those crafts? Anyway. Okay. All right. So this one's kind of fun. Here we go. Who is your favorite Disney hero or heroine, and would you trade places with them?
Oh, geez. Well, now that Disney bought all the Star Wars movies, I'd have to say Luke Skywalker, and absolutely, I'd move some stuff with my mind and have a lightsaber. That'd be pretty solid.
Oh my goodness, Coach Swanson, what's yours?
Oh, that's tough. I'm a big Hercules fan. That was the best anime movie growing up, so I'll go with that. And sure, I'll trade places with them. Maybe not to be that strong. I wouldn't be able to complain.
I thought you were going to go Shrek because you kind of look like him. Anyway, Coach Bryant, we'll all answer this one. Coach Bryant?
I like Wreck-It Ralph. He's funny.
Yeah.
He gets me in video games all day.
Coach Doherty?
Yeah, I dig the Hercules as well, but so I'm not going to copycat. I'm going to go Simba.
Okay. I'm going to go Star Wars because I'm kind of a Star Wars geek. I'm going to say Darth Maul. Okay. Anyway. And I'm sure that, we're dropping listeners because I said Darth Maul. Just kidding. All right. This one's fun. Share your most memorable experience on a golf course.
So I've got one hole-in-one in my life. That was pretty awesome. It's down at Green Acres, hole number 2 in Donaldson, Iowa. Love that place. The best round of golf $8 can buy. Shout out Green Acres. That was awesome. I was playing in, I don't know if I was in the quarterfinals. I don't know. I wasn't deep in like a match play club championship, and I was just hanging on with a really good golfer. And like, I'm not a good golfer. I'm an okay golfer. I've got a shirt that says I'm the okayest golfer around, and I really am. That's about me. But I was just hanging on, and I hit a birdie to cut, like, I don't know. I was down one hole going into the back 9, and he snaps one off into the water, and so he pulls it out. He's laying 3 and holes out from 180 yards for a birdie, and I end up I get a par, but or maybe I even bogeyed. I don't know, but I was like, oh my gosh, I have him. I have a shot, and he holes out from 182, and I still remember thinking, well, that's just dumb. This is over.
All right, so the last 2 questions. This is coming. These questions were obviously articulated from somebody you know. So, and it wasn't Coach Doherty. So it's not what you think. Here, 2 more questions. What did Aston Kuchar smell like on the plane?
Of flowers and cinnamon. I mean, it was like it was sitting next to an angel. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, everything he touched turned to gold, and it's just such a pleasurable personality.
Okay, we're going to come back to that here in a little bit. Now, I frankly don't know what he would smell like, but I do know that Coach Swanson knows what I smell like sometimes. Anyway, okay, we'll go to the final question here. Now, one of my favorite Chiefs. Now, I know he played for the Raiders. What was Rich Gannon like on Pros versus Joes, and what was that experience like with yourself?
So Rich Gannon was an absolute stud. I mean, he was nice, he was polite, he was outgoing. He's who you think he is. His persona on TV is who you think he is. I mean, it just seemed very real. The other Priest Holmes was awesome. Pac-Man Jones was a trip, like you'd expect. The big difference like that, and I see it now more so than I saw as a player or early in my career. But the way these guys are built to sustain 10, 12, 13 years in the pros is unbelievable. Like Rich Gannon did not dwarf me by any means, except for his forearms were the size of my calves. You know what I mean? Like you're just a bigger dude. Your bones are bigger. You're put together better. I mean, it's crazy. And I just remember thinking, wow, that's what you have to look like if you want to sustain hits from some of these monsters that are coming after you.
Man, so are you a Patrick Mahomes fan?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. And it's my cross to bear. Yes, I know. But I think the light's getting brighter for us. But I really do enjoy just watching greatness. And Patrick Mahomes is something else.
Man, I am kind of a Jim Kelly guy, so I have to throw that out there. So, I'm going to let Coach Doherty ask the very first question this evening. After we broke the ice, I appreciate you being a part of that. Now, we had a couple extra, and they were kind of fun, to ask. But anyway, Coach Doherty, the floor is yours, buddy.
All right, I promised I would ask this question. I'm sure you know who it's from after I ask it. Are you a better recruiter in person or in NCAA football 2014?
Aren't they the same thing? Have I been doing this whole recruiting thing wrong all this time? I don't know. I think I've got a relatively likable personality that I can connect with guys personally or on a personal level pretty well. I think that there's a whole lot less promises that go on in my real life recruiting compared to the NCAA 2014 when you're just guaranteeing playing time to the guy that's got A+ speed or whatever. We don't have it. We don't do that. That video game, I would give anything to have it back. And I saw somebody tweet out, keep the same engine, just update the players and put the server back on, and I'd be all for it. You'd make a bunch of money, but recruiting is obviously is the lifeblood, without a doubt, of any program. We all got X's and O's. The five of us could drop great plays against each other till midnight, and at the end of the day, if you don't have the guys that can execute those plays, it doesn't matter. So I take a ton of pride in recruiting, honestly, and if I got guys that I can get the ball to that can run real fast, that's really good.
All right, sorry, I picked a fine time to drop my mic there. Coach Swanson, I'll give you the next one.
Yeah, you mentioned about recruiting. So when you're looking at athletes, I know you're looking at speed, size, skill, all that stuff. What are some of the main intangibles that you look at from some of these young men?
So the one thing that I've bought into for a while now, and it's truly is a staple of what we do here, Whitewaters. We've got to find guys that love to play football. It can't be something I enjoy doing. It can't be something I do because I like the publicity or I like the spotlight. We have to have guys that love to play football. And when you build a team, a roster of guys that love to play football, all of a sudden the little things start to take care of themselves. Yeah, you're always going to have those guys that struggle in the classroom, but they're going to find a way to get it done. because they love the game and they know the only way they're going to play is if they get it done in the classroom. You're going to find guys that yeah, maybe they got a little bit of dirt behind the ears. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not the angel that you want them to be, but at the end of the day, they're going to walk away from an altercation or walk away from a bad situation because they know if they interact in that way, they will not be playing football. And so that is the cure to a lot of evils, finding guys that just absolutely love the game. Beyond that, you want a person that you can get along with. I mean, there's something to be said about, especially in the quarterback room, you're going to be around me so much, so many times for so long during the day that if we can't connect on a personal level, if we're oil and water, either he's going to be miserable and I'm going to be miserable, and that's not good either. So I don't want to say likability, but just some genuine connection that you can create with a guy that goes beyond just the football field. And then after that, you've got to find guys that fit your system. You got to find guys that are big, that can run, that are that will lift, right, or do lift. And you take that one step farther. The more refined a guy is, in a lot of ways, that helps too, right? The caliber of coach he had at the high school level, the position coach he had, we take that into account as well.
You know, I'm going to piggyback off that. What type of advice would you give, to student athletes right now that may want to be Wisconsin Whitewater caliber? I mean, what are you looking for? What would be the dynamics in you choosing somebody to come play in your organization?
Yeah, and I guess that it goes back to, do you love the game? And there are easy ways. I mean, that question gets asked from all of our coaches to the guys we recruit. We're asking that of the player themselves. We're asking that of the coach. And if we get a yes, I absolutely love the game from the player, and we get yes, this kid loves the game from the coach. Now we move forward, because if we don't get that, we got to move on. At the end of the day, we're a meat grinder here. And I hate to say it that callously, but if you don't love it, if you don't want to be great, you're going to get chewed up and spit out. And so we're either wasting your time or you're wasting our time. And that's here at Whitewater. I talk about this a lot with our guys. Like, we expect Division I type effort, intensity, commitment, and everybody says they do, right? Mm-hmm. But at the Division III level, you're not getting paid for that. So you're truly doing it for the love of the game, right? Like, at the University of Iowa, Coach Ferentz can say, I need championship level effort, but I'm also offering you a full ride scholarship, right? We don't do that. We're saying we need that same effort, but you're going to pay to do it. And that's a tough dichotomy to sell, and that's a tough set of characteristics to find in a young student athlete.
Coach Bryant?
So I played Division III football at Central College too, so I kind of know what it's like. But for those kids that you are recruiting or you're kind of looking at, how do you really sell your program, not only because you guys are a very winning school, but a lot of recruits look more at the D1 level instead of the D3 level. So how do you sell the D3 culture at Whitewater?
That's a great question, Coach Bryant. Did you play for Coach McMartin?
I did.
Oh, he's a gem, man. He's awesome. He's the real deal. Central got a steal when they hired him, for sure. Yes. It's been a number of years now, but that's a really good question. And I think the way that we sell it is, you're going to have an opportunity to come play for a national title. You're going to have an opportunity to play in the best conference in Division III football, and I say that with absolute certainty, right? Like that, you are going to be playing the best of the best week in, week out. So that's a big sell to kids, right? Our recruiting schedule is a little bit different than maybe some of the other institutions I've been at, because the kids we're looking at right now currently are holding a lot of offers from FCS Division II caliber schools, right? So we have to sort of say, hey, we're a closer option. At the end of the day, we're a public institution. We may be financially a close to a better option because, of how partial scholarships work and whatnot. So we have to go, we go into our identification process, and we're saying we are recruiting scholarship caliber kids that maybe don't want to take the hike 8 hours into the Dakotas, or don't want to go south past Springfield or whatever it may be. So that's sort of how we look at it. We sell the winning culture. I would say our facilities are absolutely second to none at the Division III level. And then our education, I mean, we offer 67 plus majors. We're on a 13,000 person campus. The campus is beautiful, and so that educational piece really does help sell the program as well, because we do a great job on that end of campus as well.
Coach Swanson, I'll let you. You have 4,332 questions.
You're the worst. Just want you to know that. You talked about that winning and championship culture. What are some of the things you as a coaching staff do to let the kids know this is what the culture is like, and have you built that culture up since you've been there?
A lot of people talk about the process. They'll say it's not about the end goal; it's the process, right? It's that day. How are you getting better that day? And that's truly how we focus. We don't. The first day of camp, we say our goal is to win the WEAC and graduate all our seniors. Those are our two goals. Those are the only two times we talk about them until we've achieved them. And so we've been lucky to win the WEAC both my years here. So we get to talk about that week 11, right? That we are WEAC champions. But at the end of the day, we're saying we want to win the WEAC. We say it once, because if we win the WEAC, that means we're a pretty dang good team. We have a shot to make a run, right? We have a really good shot to make a run. And then obviously the educational piece, you're going to college to get a degree. So we want to make sure that we're focused on our seniors as well. But outside of that, we say it's the next day. How are you getting better the next day? And Coach Bullis does an unbelievable job of keeping our goals very simple and very regimented, in the sense that he is going to repeat them time and time again. Ball security is a big issue not a big issue, it's a big issue for everybody, but it is a big emphasis for us, right? So Coach Bullis is literally walking around talking about wrist above the elbow, wrist above the elbow, wrist above the elbow, right? That's what he's saying. We have a big emphasis on bending, on the correct leverage, creating the correct leverage on our blocks or block destruction. And he is constantly saying, Bergie, you're not bending enough. Gannon, you're bending perfect. Great bend, Quinn. Bad bend, AP, whatever it may be. So we are constantly repeating our message. And we only have 4 or 5 true emphases that sort of will help encompass the entire game. And so when guys keep hearing these key words over and over and over again, it's easy to focus on those key words, which helps them focus on their process, which takes their mind off of maybe Saturday or 2 Saturdays from now, if you will.
Man, I don't know, Swanson. He's pretty good, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Coach Doherty, I am delegating a lot tonight. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to let you go ahead.
Deal. So now that you've been there, you've been to the national championship game. What are the feelings of the OC building up to that, going into the game? Unreal experience, I'm sure. What were you feeling?
I'd be lying if I didn't say a little exhausted. We go and get, we play your alma mater, Monmouth, right? And at the end of the day, Coach Freitag and Coach Braun put together a phenomenal game plan, and that was a little bit more of a headbanger than I don't want to say I anticipated, but usually that first round playoff game there's a decent amount of separation. But Monmouth came out and played lights out and really gave us a couple fits, and then Wartburg came to our place and they had a really good game plan. We ended up opening up on them a little bit just based off of some turnovers, some big special teams plays, which was awesome. But it didn't ever feel like we were just running away with the game. Then we had to travel down to Mary Hardin Baylor in the heart of Texas, and so it's a travel week. It's a flight, and they're the reigning national champions, and we had gone down there 2 years ago or the year before, and they had beaten us, and we come out and we just pound the rock. I mean, truly, one of our mantras is pound the rock. We pounded the rock. I think we threw 11 passes. Our quarterback was 9 of 11, which as a former quarterback, I'm just like, I'm itching, right? Like, we got to chuck this thing. But that was a headbanger. St. John's was a headbanger. And then you have to go fly back down to Texas and on a short week, and you're like, wow, how did we get here? You know what I mean? Whereas like the previous playoff run, our first 3 rounds until we met Mary Hardin Baylor weren't quite that type of game week in, week out. I was a little exhausted. We were told by Coach Bullis, simplify everything. It's a travel week. There's distractions. Keep this as simple as humanly possible. So we were trying to find ways to make sure that our guys were locked in and knew the base game plan and keep it really pretty basic. North Central, to their credit, runs a relatively, I don't want to say simple comes off as a knock, and it's not, but it's a very sound 4-2-5 that they run. And so I felt really good schematically going into it. I'm like, our guys know the 4-2-5. We have a great game plan against the 4-2-5. Hey, let's just let our cats go out and play. And at the end of the day, obviously their cats came out and played a little bit better than ours. But tip of the cap to them. But that week was just a whirlwind, right? I mean, you're in a hotel. You're doing all your meeting rooms in different various ballrooms, or all your meetings in various ballrooms. Practices are at wonky times. You're doing team pictures. You're going to the premiere of Star Wars, which was awesome. We got to see it a day early. But there's all these things that are going on, and you're just trying to figure out if you're coaching football right. At the end of the day, unfortunately, I didn't get our guys quite ready enough to play.
Now, I am going to piggyback off that. Us high school coaches, we say that football is a grind. What is the grind like? The difference. I'm going to guess that it's quite a bit more.
So, my wife and her parents rented an RV from Cruise USA or whatever, and drove down to Texas. They RV'd down to Texas for the national title game, and so win or lose, I was going to go back with them because I wasn't going to go back on the plane. I wanted to be with the family. And I'm sitting on the RV the next morning, playing some stupid phone game with my son. And actually, it's not stupid; it's an awesome game. But anyway, playing the game, and I'm like, it's Christmas break. I had just coached from my kids' summer break till their Christmas break, and I was like, holy smokes! I mean, that's 19 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's just absurd. And you sit here and the Division I coaches, I mean, they're used to doing that all the time. They go to a bowl game. That's nothing for them, right? And I was like, wow. So to answer your question, I don't envy anybody that has to go and teach 8-9 hours a day, then practice, then game plan. So I don't know that it's the same grind. And I don't know that I don't have less of a grind than high school coaches, to be completely honest. Now, am I under a little bit more stress than some high school coaches? Maybe. I can't speak to that to each person, but we're expected to win, and when we don't play well, we hear about it. It's not like some of the places I've been where we don't play well, people didn't know we had a game.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that because there are times that that you don't get that type of approach, but when you say it like that, I can't see it. I remember, my first semester, I taught 7 different preps in 8 hours, and I was expected to do quite a bit. So that grind can definitely affect you or whatever. So, but I guess this question obviously is just for aspirations, down in the future. Do you have aspirations to be a Division I head football coach?
Yeah, people ask me about what my goals are, and 3 or 4 years ago, I just wanted to be a head coach. I wanted to put my own stamp on a program, and that be that. And now that I've gotten to Whitewater and seeing what, how many resources there really are for some programs, and compared that with the different locations I've been, it's tough for me to just run and jump to go find the next head coaching job. I'm a huge believer of be present and be where your feet are, right? And focus there.
Yeah.
And good opportunities will find you, sort of like the rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland, right? And so at the end of the day, you want to pay me $2 million to coach football? I'll go be a head coach somewhere at a Division I level, right? But I'm in no rush to leave Whitewater. I'm in no rush to put my family through the number of jumps that would have to take. But I do have aspirations that are beyond just an offensive coordinator for sure.
Fantastic. Well, when Coach Ferentz gives up what does he make $18 million a year? Maybe they'll just call you and say, "Hey, we'll give you 16.5." All right.
You can tell them I do it for $250K.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, Coach, I'll let Coach Bryant go next.
As a young coach, I'm getting ready to go into my second year of coaching football with Coach Banks here. So what is one thing that you would absolutely say to young coaches, not just me, and not just football as well, but anything specifically to coaching or personal life?
Yeah, one thing or a couple, because I got
Sure, couple.
I got a couple. If I say one thing, it might not be the most important. The where I'd start is you have to trust that you need a work-life balance. You really do. And that's not easy for people that are in this profession. It's not easy for coaches. It's not easy for people that are wired like we are. But you have to find a way. This pandemic has been amazing. I got a 6-year-old girl, and she's like, I just love having you around all the time. And I'm like, yeah. I love being here. I just wish I knew if we were going to play football in the fall. Like you tell me that, and I could get on with my daily life. But so you do need to make sure you find a work-life balance. Make yourself irreplaceable in some way, shape, or form, and that's different for everybody. At the college level, if you are relatively unsure about your X's and O's, or maybe you're just not, you don't have the full grasp, like maybe you would like to, and you eventually will, become an unbelievable recruiter. If you just are a little shy on the phone, figure a way to start graphic design, or whatever it may be. Like, find a way to make yourself irreplaceable. Find that thing, that niche that you are, and exploit it, and build on that, and build on it, and build on it, because there are so many of us that are really well-rounded that just want experts in random fields to surround themselves with, right? And then the last thing I'll sort of leave you with, well, I want two more. Make sure that you aren't waiting to be told to do things. The best assistants, the best young assistants, have things ready before I even ask for them. And does that mean you're doing a little bit of overage? Yeah, it probably means you're doing a lot of overage. You're doing 5 different Excel spreadsheets or 5 different breakdowns, hoping that I ask for 2 of them, right? But because you did those breakdowns, I'm ready for them. We can move forward at a quicker rate. And then on top of that, you just learned how to do 5 different things, right? You just looked at 5 different sets of data. You became a better coach. You had to evaluate 5 different ways that maybe you wouldn't have done if I had only asked for your boss, or Coach Banks had only asked for X and Y instead of X, Y, Z, right? And then the last thing is, try to build meaningful relationships with kids, with coaches your age, because those are the guys you're going to grow up through the ranks with. Like, getting to know me, Coach Bryant, great, do it, please. That's awesome. I'd love to get to know you better. But the guys that you're going to grow up through the ranks with are guys around your age. Build meaningful relationships with them, because then you're going to tap into their network.
And I'm just going to piggyback, and I'm going to add, as an old coach, and definitely my philosophy has changed. I'm not that old, but you know what I mean. But my philosophy has changed. I'll always put. I do not want to be the smartest person in the room. Especially, I do not want to be the smartest person on my staff. I'm always trying to, evaluate and get the brightest and the most enthusiastic guys, ready to go. And I know Coach Swanson feels the same way. I know that Coach Doherty feels the same way, and I bet you that Coach Jennings feels the same way as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can be, if I'm a jack of all trades, I'm an expert in none, and that's where you want to find guys that have a better feel for the pulse of the young players on your team, that know how to run A-gap power better than you. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. Like, you can, and that's where I say, find your niche, know who you are, and build off of your strengths while continuing to try to grow your weaknesses, obviously. But that's great advice, Coach Banks.
Coach Swanson, I'll let you, because I know you had one more. I just knew it.
You're right about that. I'm surprised you finally got something right like that. In the midst of this pandemic, what advice do you have to, kids in high school, your college kids that, they can't get in the weight room, they can't do some of the stuff they're used to doing? What advice do you have for them to hopefully have a successful season?
I think scheduling's of the utmost importance. If you allow yourself to deviate from a basic schedule, you're never going to get back on track. And what does that mean? Does that mean that you're doing that you're lifting from 8 to 9 every day, or doing some physical activity 8 to 9 a.m. every day? Then hold yourself to that. 8 to 9 a.m. is your time to do that. 9 to 11, that's your schoolwork time. 12 to 2, that's when you're going to be playing Fortnite, eating lunch, taking a nap. 2 to 4, that's when you're going to be doing a little bit more schoolwork or whatever it may be, right? And I think that's really, really important to stay on a schedule. And at the end of the day, if you're pushing yourself, in training, whether you have weights or not, you're going to find yourself able to get back to that spot where you were when the gym's closed a whole lot quicker. I saw an unbelievable tweet from Virginia Tech. I don't know where my phone is. And I bookmarked it immediately, sent it out to all of our upperclassmen. And it was just what the breakdown is of when you start to lose 80% of what you've been working on, right? So your overall strength is going to decrease drop down to 80% after 2 weeks of not lifting. Your power or something like that is after 17 days. I don't know what it is, but it got back to that. Your speed, you will lose 20% of your speed work in 6 to 7 days. Just saying, if you're not working on speed, if you're not working on explosion, if you're not working on 10-yard sprints, 20-yard sprints, build-ups, et cetera, you're going to lose it. And so I made sure our guys saw it and said, hey, you got to be working. Because at some point where the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be there, they're going to pull up the curtain, and it's going to be go time. And maybe that's August 1st. Maybe it's October 1st. Maybe it's January 1st. Hell, maybe it's next time this year. I don't know. But if we take this time off, we're in bad shape, right? But if you're working – you're going to be able to get back to that, to basically where you were exponentially faster than if you're taking time off. And again, if you don't have that set in your schedule, you are doing yourself a disservice.
All right, there's the guy that gave me the dirt on you. He has a question for you here. He says, as from Ryan Wilson, Pete, good stuff, great show. Tell us why kids should go to Whitewater over Mount Union, Mary Hardin, Baylor, St. John's, and other D3 powerhouses.
Because I'm not coaching at the other four. Or the other three.
Boom.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Those are all great schools. St. John's is an all-male school, which I think is a niche. It's also when we were set to play them in the semifinals, it was 40 degrees in Whitewater, Wisconsin, and it was -5 outside of St. Cloud, Minnesota. So, I mean, there's that as well. Mary Hardin Baylor is a very good school. Private institution. Mount Union's private institution. At the end of the day, I'd like to think our public fees are going to be a little bit cheaper than them as well.
I mean, yeah, it makes absolute sense. Coach Doherty, you get the next question, sir.
All right, so Pete, you were thrown into the fire early. You were an OC right away. What would the OC Pete now tell that guy that many years ago?
Simplicity. Keep it simple. I used to believe that I was such a simple coach and had such a simple offense, and at the end of the day, we'd add 3 or 4 new things every week, just like everybody tends to do. And by the end of an 11-game season, because we were NAI then, so we were playing an 11-game season. By the end of an 11-game season, all of a sudden we had whatever it is, 50 new plays or 50 new concepts that were in that we didn't leave camp with. And that's a ton of overage. And you could see, I can remember going back in our postseason analysis, and we went on a little bit of a 3-game winning streak, which was a big deal when I was at Iowa Wesleyan, right? At that time, we won 3 in a row. We felt really, really good. And I think that was middle of the season. And we ended up on, I think, a 4-game skid or something like that. And when you watch how much stuff we put in over those 4 games, our guys it was paralysis by analysis. I wasn't setting them up for success. They weren't playing as fast as they could because they were going out there thinking. And that would be the biggest, that would be my biggest teaching moment or teaching lesson to my previous self. The other piece would be that I made a decision middle of my time at Carroll that I cannot get angry at practice. Because what I was doing is I was getting angry at practice and then going home and being angry. And I was like, what am I doing? Why? I love this game so much. I love coaching so much. And I'm going to sit here and let an hour or let 2 instances in one practice, it changed my entire outlook for the rest of the night. And then I go back in the morning and have to, and I'm not feeling good until the morning, right? That's not right. So I really changed that mindset to where kids, and I always knew it, kids do not try to make mistakes. Nobody's going out there to try to make mistakes. But when I made the commitment to myself and made the decision, the conscious decision to really let things slide off my back in practice and coach the kids with the knowledge that they are trying their best, life became a whole lot better.
Well, I just have to throw this out there. This has been the fastest 40 minutes, I think, guys, in a long time. It goes by so fast. Coach Jennings, we got roughly 4.5 minutes left. Now, first and foremost here, I got to make this public. I want an autographed copy of that shirt you got, man.
Oh, yeah? All right.
Yeah.
When the bookstore opens back up, I'll run down and grab it.
Yeah, man, we got to talk. I mean, that's fantastic. Number two, I would love to get you back on, sometime down in the future. And number three, I think I have 1 year eligibility. I suppose, and I would play for this guy. I'm just throwing that out there. I appreciate everything. Here's a good question, and I think far too often, we steer away from these questions. But as a coach, you're a family man, and I appreciate that. How do you balance the grind of a football coach and being the football coach and loving the game and the passion, and how do you create that family that family football dynamic to make it so successful with you? Because I see that it is successful.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. First off, I've got an unbelievable wife that does way more work than she should have to. But I get up really early and I probably stay up too late. And that at the end of the day, because I try to get our meetings in the morning, early morning, so that I can come home right after practice. And coming home right after practice means that there's a lot of film to watch before that early morning meeting with the staff. So I try to get home between 6:30 and 7 every night, if not a little earlier. And then it's all kids and family until they hit the hay. Technology has been so great to us as football coaches, because I'm sure you guys can remember sitting in the film room huddled around one computer or one TV, or that's how when I was at Iowa Western, that's how I cut my teeth. Well, now I can go home, eat dinner, do homework with the kids, play a little bit. They're in bed by whatever time they're in bed, depending on how nice the weather is, right? And I can just pound away at film or recruiting late at night, and that's been awesome. But I try so hard to keep the work-life balance, or the work-life balance, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I got an unbelievably understanding wife, and again, I try to maximize my time during the day. Well,
I have to give a shout out to my redheaded wife Stephanie, because she's a tremendous person, and I love her to death, and I try to do that as well. And I just want to say, Central Lee family, I just want to tell you how proud I am to now be your head coach. And Tyler and I are going to bring the boom back, and we're excited about it. It's just a real humbling experience. Basically, 1 week ahead of a year to the date that Coach Doherty got his call, and it's just really super exciting. Coach Jennings, I really appreciate you coming on, and be sure to follow me back on Twitter, though, man. I mean, come on.
I'm sorry. Now I feel bad. Once I find my phone, I'll retweet that Virginia Tech tweet, and I'll follow you, Coach Banks.
Hey, fantastic. Now I would like to get you on. We are starting a Wednesday night kind of. It's an X's and O's strategy. I know Coach Bryant has a ton of questions, and there's a potentiality that we would have 3 different staffs on at the same time on a big Zoom, and then we would stream it obviously live on our Coaching Culture and Athletics too. But love to get you in, to pick your brain on, quarterback play and this, that, and the other if you're interested.
Absolutely. Just let me know, guys. I try to be an open book and try to be supportive of what you guys are doing, however I can be.
Well, fantastic. Does anyone else have anything to say here? Coach Swanson, you look like you wanted to say something for 30 minutes.
You're just making crap up again. No, I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
All right, this is a wrap for the Coach Show, and it was an amazing one, folks. Next week we have captain in the United States Army and former state champion and former Hulk of a fullback from the Big Centerville Big Red days, Ethan Mormon. And also Wednesday night we've got Coach Freitag back on, and we're going to be discussing the zone read option with the linemen. For everybody